5, 4, 3, 2,
Today, we're diving
1.
into a really powerful story from inside India. It's this idea of two completely different realities living right next to each other. One is what you see during the day, the glamour, the big speeches, but the other is what's hiding in the shadows of the night. And that's a much different, much harder truth. This quote, this is really the heart of the whole thing. It just perfectly captures this deep conflict, this painful contrast between the public face and the private reality. So let's start with the shine. First up, let's take a look at that public-facing image, right? The polished performance that the source we're looking at calls the day's shine. This is the version of India you see on the grand stage. You hear it all the time, from podiums and platforms all over the country. These huge, sweeping statements. It's this constant story of just relentless progress, of national greatness, of a country that's breaking new ground every single day. A picture of just unstoppable success. And this image, it's not just for official speeches. It gets pushed hard on social media. The source points to these displays of brand new gadgets, apartments in other countries, and just this super glamorous lifestyle. And it all sends this powerful unspoken message that there's a clear hierarchy of who's made it and who hasn't.
And right here, you can just feel the public's reaction. This message is just dripping with sarcasm. It perfectly captures that total disconnect between wanting the latest gadget and these grand national slogans about development for all. It really shows you the massive gap between the two.
Okay, so let's move on. Let's see what happens when the stage lights go dim and the cameras are put away. This is where we run into what the source calls the night's truth. And here it is, the night's truth, laid out for us to see. And these aren't just statistics, they're specific, really high-profile examples that just completely contradict that polished daytime image. From the capital city all the way to remote villages, these allegations paint a pretty painful picture of a system that's really struggling with its own integrity.
Wow, this sentiment here, it's just heartbreaking, isn't it? It captures this deep personal cynicism, that dream of having security and success by working within the system. Well, it feels more and more like just that, a dream. It's the sound of hope just slowly turning into disillusionment.
So this is the really crucial part. How does this huge contrast, this tug of war between the shine and the truth, actually affect people's daily lives? What's the real human cost here?
Look at this list. We're talking about the absolute essentials. These are the areas, education, healthcare, basic things like clean rivers and roads, where progress just feels stalled, where all those big promises meet a really harsh reality. The source also points out how social divisions often get played up, almost like a distraction from these fundamental failures. And this just brilliantly shows the emotional turmoil this all creates. It's a real gut punch of a quote. It shows that internal conflict of, wanting to be part of modern life, getting the new phone, while at the same time carrying this deep pain of seeing national treasures, symbols of your heritage like the Ganga, just being neglected. It's a modern problem with a really ancient sadness behind it. And all of this brings us to what feels like the very fabric of this dual reality. It's this complex, tangled web of contradictions that defines the experience for so many people. Okay, so let's start with corruption. On the one hand, you have this powerful, definite promise to wipe it out. But on the other hand, there's the lived reality of a system that feels slow, that doesn't seem to respond, and that ultimately feels, ineffective. And that gap between those two statements, that's where public trust just completely falls apart. And next, you have this big push for a modern, digital India. It's a really compelling vision of the future, right? But that vision just smacks right into the analog reality on the ground, like finding a wad of cash in a government official's drawer. It really makes you wonder just how deep this transformation actually goes.
This is such a powerful, almost poetic way of expressing that feeling of contradiction. The source uses this quote to basically give the river a voice that's questioning our collective inaction. It turns a policy failure into something deeply personal, almost a spiritual crisis.
Now, when you're faced with this overwhelming reality, this feeling of helplessness, the source doesn't just leave you there. It asks a really critical question. What can we, the people, actually do about any of this?
So instead of just critiquing, the source offers a clear, actionable plan.
It's really a call to move beyond just passively scrolling through information. It's about getting actively involved, challenging things that aren't true, demanding accountability, and choosing to chase the truth instead of just what's trending. It's like a roadmap to get from cynicism to action. And this final message here, it feels like a powerful antidote to all that cynicism we saw earlier. It's a huge shift in perspective, thinking of public service not as a way to get ahead personally, but as a genuine duty. It's about reclaiming a sense of personal responsibility and purpose. And so we come full circle, right back to our central theme. The source is basically arguing that we just can't be satisfied with the gleaming image we're shown in the daylight anymore. We have to be willing to face the uncomfortable truths that come out in the quiet of the night, because that's where real change actually begins. And so this explainer ends not with a nice, tidy answer, but with this deeply provocative question. The source isn't telling you what to think. It's just holding up a mirror. What's reflected in it, and maybe more importantly, what you choose to see and what you choose to do about it, well, that's ultimately up to you.